The candidates come to the front of the table, please. Please have a seat. Bob Dylan, Lan Diop, Johnny Lee, Rudy Nassau, Kwa Nguyen, Mon Nguyen, Timur Zoko, Alex Torres, and if I mispronounce your name, my apologies. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to start from right to left. And the first question, could you hold that mic for me? Don't say anything just yet. We'll get there. So what we're going to do is from right to left, we'll start with the first question. And then please pass the mic down once you're done. What I would ask...
Give them 2-minute intros.
I will. We're going to get there. I'm just trying to make sure that they understand what's going on and how this is going to work. So when you answer your questions, could you please stand so that the community can see who's answering the questions? Okay, can I have 2 minutes on the clock? It's 2 minutes for the intros. Bob Dylan. And I need to make sure that Ty Graves, where's Ty? Ty, the list here, are they in the same order here? Because I'm not familiar with all the candidates, so I want to make sure that I don't. Okay.
We put them in alphabetical order up front. So, Bob, if you'll introduce yourself, 2 minutes, pass the mic to Lund, and then we'll go down the line.
Right. I need to be familiar with everyone here, so I don't know everyone's name. So there's a couple of folks that I recognize, but I do not recognize everyone.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Lund Diep. Johnny Lee. Kwa Nguyen.
I'm sorry, one more. Okay.
Mon Nguyen. Rudy Nassau. Timur Zoko. And Alex Torres.
Okay, can I have a pen just for, may I borrow your pen? I need to put them in the order here, so. This number one.
Everyone, there's empty seats over there. Please do not stand on the sideline. Please try to find a seat so you won't walk anybody. Thank you.
It's a circular arm. Am I ready to go, man?
May I have 2 minutes on the pen back up. Okay, so you have 2 minutes for your introductions. And so we will start with Bob Dylan. 2 minutes on the clock.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever I count my blessings, the best thing that ever happened to me was to come to America. I came to improve my life, which I did, and my parents supported me to come here, and I'm very, very thankful for them to give me that support. From the looks of me, some of you who don't know me might think I just came off the boat. I have been here 50 plus years. I got to United States when I was 17-year-old. I got my education, got myself an engineering degree from San Jose State University, later on an MBA from Santa Clara University. I worked at Amdal Corporation, one of the first company that it was in the formation stage. And I did well there, then I changed my career to real estate. Most of the time in my life, I did real estate. In the last several years, I am retired from real estate. I've been doing nothing but community service. I have spent 7 years at San Jose City Planning Commission, and I have done several years of community service in various organizations, including our temple. I am now, only thing I'm trying to do is pay back what the United States has provided me, give back to the community. I'm very, very thankful for what I got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Landia, 2 minutes on the clock, please.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Lutton Diop. I am the second one speaking today. I'm the last one on the ballot order, and hopefully by the end of tonight, I'll be the first one in your hearts. I am a graduate of Independence High School. I am the only attorney on this field of candidates. I am a public interest attorney, which means that I use my legal degree to help people who can't afford legal services deal with their legal problems. I am running because I want to make San Jose a great place to be and a happy place to live. This includes building a city that is a first-rate city that attracts world-class attention, not just a city that is San Francisco light, a place where people have open spaces, a walkable city, a city that is friendly to mass public transit, and a city that has fiscal sustainability to take us into the decades to come as we deal with a lot of development. I am uniquely qualified in this field because as an attorney, I believe I'm the only one who has made judgment calls and offered somebody else insights in my judgment to say this is what you should do, and have had that advice, that decision weigh on my conscience through good or through bad. And on this council, we need somebody who can join and take immediately join in making decisions for the council and take the council to solve the problems of the 21st century without a 20th century mindset. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any way we can...
Be careful there. We're not. Can we back this up just a little bit? No.
Hello?
Yeah.
Bring the tables out.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
You're good?
I hope you're not cutting into my 2 minutes.
No, run it.
The clock's not running.
Hang on. We're gonna get there. Johnny Lee, 2 minutes on the clock, please.
Oh, we're ready. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here this evening, and I appreciate the generous invitation to speak today. It was almost for a second here that I didn't get a chance to speak, and I was devastated. I'm not kidding. I really wanted to speak out. That's one of the main reasons I run for office. And I told myself when I run for office, I'm gonna run on issues. I'm gonna speak out, I'm gonna talk about things that are happening, I'm gonna try to make changes, and I'm trying to do it now. And so, it hurt me when, just because I didn't raise a lot of money, I don't get to speak here at the candidate forum. Because quite frankly, I don't value money like some of these candidates value money. They think that money is everything, that it's gonna win you everything. And I get it. People who have more money usually win elections. But it doesn't mean you're the best candidate if you have the most money. To me, it more likely means you probably took money from special interests. And most likely when you get in there, you're gonna support those special interests. So unlike the other candidates who took money from special interests, I didn't. I ran on my integrity. I ran on the issues. I ran on things that mattered, things that people cared about. I was involved in the landfill petition to close down the landfill, the Newbie Island landfill, stop it from expanding. Currently, they allowed it to go up 245 feet in the air. We collected 22,000 signatures from residents in the South Bay to stop the landfill from expanding. I mean, people argue a lot of different things, where we're going to throw the trash, but I just want the city to prove to the residents that they're going to do something about it. And that's all I really want them to do, because quite frankly, they haven't addressed those problems. They haven't addressed a lot of our problems in this city. And so I want them to prove to us that they're going to do something about it. And as a representative, I will prove to you that I will do something about these issues and that I will address them. From Johnny Lee, you will get someone who will listen to you, someone who will listen to your problems and try to do something about it, because that's the type of guy I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me make one request. Please hold the applause to the end, and then we'll applaud all together. Quan Nguyen, 2 minutes on the clock.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Quan Nguyen. First of all, I'd like to thank the community for showing up today. I'd like to thank the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council for hosting this forum. Putting on this forum every year is greatly appreciated. It's very informative. It's a great outreach to the community, and for that, I thank the sponsors and the host of this forum. With that said, a quick introduction about myself is, again, my name is Quan Nguyen. I'm a second-generation resident of this community and a second-generation homeowner as well. My parents were homeowners in this community. I grew up in this community. I spent my entire life growing up in this area. As an adult now, I'm also a homeowner, and what I have done in the past years to give back to this community is that, well, let's backtrack a little bit. I first started off my career as a financial analyst, where I learned to balance multi-million-dollar budgets, which is an experience that I earned that I believe would be beneficial if elected to the role of the city council. And from there, I decided to move on towards public service, so I left the private sector and moved on to the public sector. And that's when I became a police officer. I became a police officer, and I've served as a police officer for the past 6.5 years now, coming on to 7 years. In addition to that, I've also served as your elected Berryessa board, governing board member for the past 6.5 years as well. I was first elected back in 2008, and I was re-elected back in 2012. And it has been a great experience while on the board. I've always been an independent candidate where I pushed policies and made decisions and made votes that were always in the benefit of the community. Like my colleague said, I have never taken any special interest dollars since I was first elected in 2008. And again, 2012, I'm a truly independent candidate. I've never accepted any sorts of special interest dollars. If elected, I can assure you that I'm an independent candidate, and I will continue to make decisions and push policies that are the benefit of the community, not for any special interest groups. And as far as my educational background goes, I'm also a student of local schools.
Thank you, sir.
San Jose State.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ma Wen. We're going to put 2 minutes on the clock.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Just a
My
minute.
You're bringing the audio down just a little bit. Repeat back to each other.
Testing.
You have 2 minutes on the clock?
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here to present my candidacy to all of you. My name is Man Nguyen, and I have lived, worked, and volunteered in District 4 for more than 30 years. And through my work as a journalist, TV radio producer, and publisher, I have kept residents informed and engaged in critical civic issues, providing them with the insights into our local government, and also helping them to make their life much better. And that's the reason why I'm running for City Council, to take the next step in serving our community. As you may know, District 4 has faced so many challenges in the years ahead. The development of a North First Street corridor, the environmental concern over Berryessa, over Elviso, in the tiny bedroom community in the Berryessa area with the coming of the bus station. So many issues we are facing today. The public safety, the affordable housing, the homelessness, so many things we need to solve. And I believe I have the passion and the desire to tackle those challenges with the help from the community. And as you may know, that I'm not a political insider, but I know how city government should work. City government must know how to spend tax dollar, people's money, prudently and wisely with the care and respect, and city government must know how to improve the economy to create more good paying jobs to its residents, to raise the tax base, and to restore all public services. I hope I will have your support, and I hope to earn your vote in this coming election. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Please hold your applause to the end. Thank you so much. Thank you. Rudy Nassau, 2 minutes on the clock, please.
Good evening, my name is Rudy Nassau, and I'm running because I feel I have the qualifications because of my long-term involvement in this community. My family and I have lived in this in Berryessa for over 40 years, where we raised 3 kids in the local schools. I was a long-term member of the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council. I was its president in 2000, and I was also honored to be the Berryessa Citizen of the Year in 2004. And my wife and I served in many volunteer hours to the Berryessa Union School while our kids are growing up. And as a volunteer, I've been a volunteer for City Boards and Commission. I've served 2 terms with the San Jose Parks and Recreation Commission, where I chaired the commission in 1997. And during that time, I advocated to build this beautiful community center. I also served 2 terms as the commissioner with the Community Development Block Grant Steering Committee, where we provided funding from the federal government to build affordable housing that serves our low-income seniors and low-income families in the city of San Jose. We also provided funds for the improvement of roads in Alviso. I served for 9 years as a trustee with the Berryessa Union School District, which 4 times I was elected president by my colleague. And at that time, I advocated and convinced the city to partner with us and build the Berryessa Youth Center at Morel Middle School. Currently, I'm a trustee with the San Jose Evergreen Community College District, which I hold the position of board vice president. During my early time as a board member, I advocated and pushed for the building of a satellite campus in Milpitas through a partnership between Milpitas Unified School District and San Jose Evergreen Community College District. It will open in 2016 to serve our students, high school students here in Berryessa, in Milpitas, in North San Jose. So I am highly qualified to run for this position of representing you effectively in council member. And I'm hoping that you vote for me because I have a track record in Berryessa of representing the best interests of our neighborhood.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tim Orzoko, 2 minutes on the clock, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Orozco. And first, I do want to thank the sponsors for allowing and accommodating all of the candidates here this evening. This is a special election. This is an important election. And it's going to determine who's going to represent you on this at City Hall, probably for the next 6 years, next 9 years. So thank you to Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council and the BBA, Berryessa Business Association, and the other groups. My name is Tim. I grew up here in this neighborhood. I went to Noble, Piedmont Middle behind us, and Piedmont Hills High School. I know this community. I'm running because I care about the community just like you that we live in. And I want to be able to be at City Hall to help solve some of the issues and some of the problems that are facing us today. Currently I work with Senator Bob Wajkowski. And working with Senator Wajkowski, I have had the opportunity over the last couple of years to go out to Berryessa, North San Jose, and Alviso, and be your voice for the senator and represent the senator. And when I did so, I got to know the communities very well. I know our challenges. I know our strengths. We have vibrant communities. This is an example of the community spirit. And so we have some great opportunities ahead of us. BART is coming. And I want to be at the table. I want to be there to make sure that we're doing the right thing there. I want to be able to improve public safety. We need to hire more police officers. I want to bring together folks at City Hall to make sure that we get over the pension problem and the pension mess. We can solve that. We solved that at the state level with the Public Employees Pension Reform Act in 2013. We can do it at City Hall. So there's a lot of things that face us, and I want to be your next representative. Thank you.
Good afternoon,
Please hold your
everyone,
applause.
and welcome.
Please hold your applause. Alex Torres, 2 minutes on the clock, please.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being out here, friends, neighbors, and residents of District 4. I have lived and worked in this area in San Jose in District 4 for over 20 years. I'm a single father who alone raised 2 of my boys who went to these public schools. I am running for office and I'm seeking your support simply because I know this district. I know the needs of our community. I know the needs of our education. I know the needs of our senior citizens. I know the needs of public safety. But right now, the way City Hall is operating, it's not working. We keep electing the same people over and over again, being backed by the same special interest groups over and over again. I am here to tell you that I'm here to offer a different perspective and a different voice. I come with over 20 years of government, economic development experience in the areas of affordable housing, economic development, workforce development, and overall social development for our communities. I understand what needs to get done and how the relationships at the state level, at the federal level, at the local level, and even at the regional level. I have been appointed by the city of San Jose to many different positions. I am currently serving now, going on my 7th year on the City of San Jose's Workforce Investment Board, which is very instrumental in getting people back to work. I've also worked with the City of San Jose and as one of the founders of the Business Owner Space or organization within City Hall to make businesses more streamlined to be able to do better business here in San Jose and to stay here in San Jose. I am not taking any special interest money, nor do I want it. It's important that we realize that we need to elect someone different and other people that represent us in the community and not a particular group, an interest group. I ask for your support. I ask for your vote. If you want someone different, if you want somebody that's independent, that does not owe any favors to any particular interest group or anyone else, take a look at a list of my endorsements. They're all community leaders, community people, and community organizations. I ask for your help, for your support, and more importantly, I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and clap for all of the candidates for being here tonight, their introductions. Give them a great applause. We're going to start with our first question. You have 90 seconds to respond. Candidate Bob Dillon. Have you held elective office? If yes, what role in your major accomplishments? If no, what experience prepares you for such a high political office?
Planning Commission does about 60% of the council's job, make recommendations to the council. The other remaining 40% of the council's job is the issues that I will have to learn. So Planning Commission job is actually really prepares you for the council's job. And working in the communities, working in community organizations, I know I have been living in this district. I bought my first home in 1975, and I moved out for about 5 years, but the entire period I have lived in this community. I know the needs of this community. I know the fixes that it will take. I'm not going to promise you something that I will be able to do overnight, and I'm not going to promise you something not doable, but I will do the basic issues, traffic calming, making sure that the BART goes to the downtown area. Otherwise, the traffic will continue to be a problem. Filling up potholes, keeping the libraries open, making sure that we have enough funding to do all the community services, making sure that the school kids have enough homework centers in the area, libraries are available for them, and...
Thank you, Candidate Dillon.
Okay.
Thank you. Please pass the mic. Please hold your applause till we get through all of the evening's questions. Candidate Len Diab.
Yes, no, I have not held public office to date, but I feel I'm qualified for this position because of my legal experience. As an attorney, I've dealt with the clients, giving them direct services, talking them through their issues, listening to them, empathizing with them, and explaining to them what can or cannot be done. I also have the capacity and I dare say the appetite and enjoyment for nuance and municipal code and law, where I can delve into an issue and do research and gain an understanding of an issue, even if it's only something that I've only encountered for the first time. On the council, we make decisions that affect not just the folks in this district, but the entire city. And I feel that I have the judgment to do that as somebody who has had clients come to me and say, hey, Lun, what do we do? And I don't just point out to them what could be done, but I actually advise them, this is probably the best path for you given your circumstances. And based on my advice, sometimes it's worked out for people, sometimes it hasn't, but I've lived with that and I've had that weight in my conscience. And I feel that I'm ready to make those decisions and take on that responsibility on the council.
Thank you. Candidate Johnny Lee, 90 seconds on the clock, please.
Thank you. Okay, so I think my highest qualification is I'm the chairman of the Council Appointment Advisory Committee. When you get the chairman, you kind of got to do a little work. So I got to the chair. What we do in the Council Appointment Advisory Committee is we interview and select people for the boards and commissions for the city of San Jose. And that's no easy task, especially since there's hundreds of commissioners and we have to make sure we select the best one for each position, or we try to at least. Number two, I'm also vice chairman of the Bond Oversight Committee for Evergreen, San Jose City College. We manage 2 bonds, each one's 800 million and the other's 200 million. We make sure that they spend the bond money correctly. A lot of time it's just sitting there, watching a bunch of slides saying that we did this correctly, we did that correctly. And it's a waste of time in my opinion, but I realized the reason we are there is because there's people like you guys who want to make sure at least somebody's looking even though there may be nothing going wrong. And so I spend time at those meetings. I've also attended city council meetings for 2 years in a row. That's over 80 council meetings I've been to, as well as over 100 rules committee meetings. And I sit there from beginning to end. Some people leave after the first hour, the first 30 minutes. Is there a timer? First 30 minutes, but I stay there for 3 to 4 hours. Why? Because I want to be the best council member that ever existed. And quite frankly, I don't think I've actually done anything to really qualify me to run for office. Some of you people have done that, some of you have done more. I think the difference with me is that I have a greater desire to do something for this city, for our people, for my children. I have the most travel experience, I think.
Thank you, candidate Lee. Candidate Kwa Nguyen.
Thank you for the question. First of all, it's been an absolute pleasure to have represented your interests and served you on the Berryessa Union School Board for the past 6.5 years. I believe as a council member, the 2 most important qualifications you need to have is you need to have an understanding of people, because after all, government is in the business of providing services to the people. The services they provide come from government employees. The Berryessa Union School District budget comprises approximately 90% of costs related to personnel. The city of San Jose is very similar. So we need to have an understanding of where the money is going to. It's going to the people, it's going to the city employees. So we need to foster a culture of respect for the employees. And I believe I've done that as a school board member. When I first came into this position, there was a lot of there was strained relationships between our labor groups and our school district, but over time we were able to put the right people in place at the leadership level at our school district, which resolved the situation in our school district back in 2008. And now we have a fairly better relationship than what we had 6-7 years ago. And the city of San Jose is going through the same situation with the Berryessa Union School District going back 6 to 7 years ago. And I believe that elected, I had that qualification and experience to foster a culture of respect for employees. In addition to that, I also have a budget background. I'm the only candidate with a formal education in budgeting. I've also served in both private and public sector where I've delivered balanced budgets, both at Cisco Systems and Lockheed Martin, where I gained my experience in the private sector before I moved on to the public sector. And I also participated in the budgeting process as well with the Berryessa Union School District, where we delivered positive budgets for our school districts as well.
Thank you, candidate one. Candidate Ma Nguyen. Hang on, 90 seconds on the clock.
Yes.
Yes, I will. Have you held elective office? If yes, what roles and your major accomplishments? If no, what experience prepares you for such a high political office? 90 seconds on the clock, please.
This is the very first time I'm running for public office. As you may know, I'm a journalist, a TV radio producer, and also a publisher. And through my work, I spent my whole professional career to holding public officials accountable for their action. And for so many years, I interviewed so many public officials. And I try to do my best. If I'm elected to be city council member, I will hold myself and my colleagues in the city council to do exactly what they promised to the voters, and also accountable for their decision and their action. And I believe the most important things for public officials as well as public employees, they got to know how to work together to better serve the people, because they got to know how to put the interest and the needs of the people on top. And that's the most important things public officials running for public office, they got to do exactly that. Thank you.
Candidate Rudy Nassau.
Thank you.
90 seconds on the clock, please.
I want to just also emphasize in accomplishment in a point of office as a commissioner with the Parks and Recreation Commission. During my chairmanship, I initiated a policy that many of you may not know. It's called the City School District Collaborative Policy. This policy was adopted by the city and the 19 school districts within the city of San Jose. What it is that it established the homework centers and school sites, and also after-school programs such as arts, music, and sports. These are very important because at that time when we established this policy, the gang problem in San Jose just dropped down because we engaged our young folks into very productive activities after school. I've been elected with the Berryessa Union School District for 9 years, and 4 of those times, as I said, I was elected board president. Because of those times, we have some financial crisis, and none of my board members would like to take into the hot seat as president of the board. So I was elected president because I have the ability to take the lead and really tackle the finances that we have, focus our program into the educational success of our kids, and we were very successful in that. Even though we have financial crisis, our API, Academic Performance Index, are really growing up. Now that I'm a trustee at the San Jose Evergreen Community College District, I took the leadership of having a good, effective governance team because I have a master's in governance, and I believe that an effective governance team in the city council is needed nowadays, because we've been splintered with division, with some council member leading one side and the other, so nothing is getting done. So I will be an independent voice in the council.
Thank you, candidate. Well, thank you. Nassau, I apologize. Rudy Nassau. Candidate Tim Orozco. Orozco, apologize.
I've never held elected office, but I'm ready to serve you and be your representative at City Hall. In the past, I worked for current Assembly Speaker Tony Atkins, and I was a policy aide, community representative, and I learned and got the experience necessary to be able to get things done. Currently, I work with Senator Bob Wajkowski. I know how it works. I've sat down on meetings with community stakeholders, with folks like you, residents of the community, to make policies that work for our communities. So I believe that I'm uniquely qualified because of my past job working with Speaker Atkins and my current job working with Senator Bob Wajkowski, and I can serve you well. If elected, I'm going to hire staff that is going to respect the residents and that are going to be responsive to your needs. I have learned that quality constituent services is important. I've had 2 great mentors, Tony Atkins, Bob Wajkowski. They have taught me well, and I will take what I've learned from them to City Hall to serve you well. Thank you.
Candidate Alex Torres. 90 seconds on the clock, please.
Thank you. I've run for many semi-public offices. I was the youngest elected president of the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. I traveled all up and down California listening to the needs of small and medium-sized businesses, and I brought that organization to the forefront enough to be invited by President Clinton and then Vice President Al Gore to the White House to talk about economic development within small businesses. But more importantly, I have served and have been chairman, have been elected chairman of over 20 different boards in the city of San Jose that provide services for the residents of District 4 in all of San Jose to improve the quality of life, whether it's education, whether it's transportation. I was instrumental in bringing BART down here. I was also instrumental in being appointed by the city to be able to look at the Greenbelt to protect our hills. I was also been involved in education, workforce development, all of these different things. I don't need to be anywhere else except San Jose. You will not find any other candidate right here sitting at these tables with more experience in knowing and the knowledge of what it takes to run the city of San Jose and having the relationships at the nonprofit level, at the community level, at the leadership level, and at the government level. This is why I am running, because of my vast experience and my experience in working with all of these folks and my extensive track record in getting things done and accomplishing things in the city of San Jose. I was also part of the city of San Jose's foreclosure prevention task force. I've also served on the San Jose Conservation Corps. I've also served on the Center for Training and Careers Board. I'm also the past chairman for the San Jose Evergreen Community College District Foundation, which under my leadership we were able to bring it back up from the ashes to the success that it's currently having right now. I've received numerous awards from the federal, state, and local levels. Once again, I ask for your support.
Thank you, Kennedy Torres. Kennedy, please stand. I'm going to give you questions. There you go. What are your top 2 priorities that you will accomplish in your first 6 months of service for District 4 for the city?
If the timeline is just 6 months, my priorities would be to familiarize myself with the members on the council, to get to have office hours in the district, to listen directly to the community needs, and come up with a plan through these meetings and by continuing to attend neighborhood association meetings to come up with a plan together to see what we can do. 6 months is not a whole lot of time to do anything. We've been campaigning since probably December, and it feels like it's just gone by in a split second. 6 months is not a whole lot of time to do much. But longer term, I hope to help be on the council to address the issue of public safety, address this whole Measure B issue, and restore our police officers to the San Jose police force. And also, for me, it's important to invest in our infrastructure in this city. We have BART coming down. We have a lot of development happening in San Jose, North San Jose specifically. And whether we do more commercial development or more residential development, whatever the case may be, our infrastructure right now cannot really maintain that. So whether it's 1,000 more toilets flushing down the street, or 1,000 more people coming into this area to work, we need to have the capacity to grow for decades to come and make San Jose that city that is that world-class attraction.
So the question was, in 6 months.
Let's put 90 seconds on the clock. Give me an opportunity to make sure the clock is going. We want to be fair with everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So the question was, what can I do in 6 months? And if I was all God powerful and I could do whatever I want, then there would be a lot of things I could do. I'd realize in 6 months, it's not a lot of time because you have to work with the community, you have to get everybody involved, and usually when you work with the government, it takes 6 months just to pass maybe, the first part of it. And so with that being said, there's not much I can do. But I can tell you what I will do, and what I will do is I will start on all these things right now. And whether it happens or not, it's a different story. One thing I want to do, make sure once I get in the door, is fix public safety. It's a big issue for everyone. One, we need more officers. 2, we don't have the money. I believe that we can't get some of the money, pay officers a little more so that we can keep them, because we don't have enough officers in the first place. We budgeted for more officers that are paid less, but we don't have enough officers, so therefore we can use a little bit of the money that we use to pay more officers, pay them a little more from that money that we're supposed to use to pay more officers. You get it? That would increase it a little bit. At the same time, I want to increase the burglary unit because people are being afraid that their houses are being robbed, and it's happening, and I get it. And it's, if I run off to work, I don't want to be scared that my stuff is gone. And I've been robbed before. I know how it feels. It sucks. And so when you call the cops and don't get there for 8 hours, it sucks even more. It shows you exactly, really, why this stuff is happening, because the city doesn't care. And I'm out of time, but last thing said, I know people are not even calling cops anymore, because they know the police are not even going to respond. So when the city tells us...
Thank you. Candidate Quan Lee.
Thank you for the question again. So I've elected, the first 6 months, my top 2 priorities will be working towards properly funding our public safety. As a police officer, I believe I'm uniquely qualified, and I have a deep understanding of this issue. I've been following this for the better part of the past decade or so. Our public safety issue is critical because it drives the quality of life issues. Now, with everything that's going on with Measure B right now, it's providing a compensation package that is the worst compensation package for police officers and firefighters in the state of California. So with that said, it's difficult to recruit and retain the current officers we have. We're losing more officers and firefighters now than we're able to retain and recruit them. So that's the first issue that we need to address, is we need to prioritize that. And the second issue that I'd like to address if elected is I would like to create a stronger partnership between our school district, the Berryessa Union School District, and the City of San Jose. And I say that because I believe that schools are what drive the quality of life issues, and that's a strong statement coming from a police officer. I don't believe it's public safety, it's really the schools, because the more you invest in our schools through after-school programs and such, you're going to create a stronger quality of life. And I always tell people, you don't have to look any further to the communities such as Cupertino or Los Altos that invest and have a strong support for their school system. And as a result of that, they have low crime rates. They have a low socioeconomic issues such as homelessness and high abuses of drugs. So with that said, we need, as a city, we need to create these strong partnerships between our school district and ours. I'm out of time. Thank you.
I apologize for that, distracted. Thank you so much. We want to make sure that we stick with the time, and we will go through the questions according to how they have given the questions to me. Candidate Ma Nguyen, 90 seconds, thank you.
Economy is the economy. Because everything requires money. The city, the reason we got into this mess because we don't have enough money. And we have a budget deficit for a long time. So I think the first priority for the city council is to improve the economy. It will bring along with the creating more good paying jobs, increase tax base, and restore all basic city services to its residents, including the public safety. It requires money. So if we have if you can improve the economy, we can solve so many problems for the city. And I think another very important thing is the public officials, as well as public employees, got to know how to work together. They got to sit down in a room on the table and to find a solution for the standoff situation right now between the city leaders and the police unions, because that will very much detriment to the interest and the needs of the people in the public safety area. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rudy Nassau, 90 seconds on the clock, please.
As a master's in governance graduate, I used to conduct a workshop for 7 years to train school board candidates how to become an effective member of a governance team. Now, my first order of business, if I got elected to the city council, is to talk to the 9 council members and the mayor to see how we can work together to conduct the business of the people. If we don't have a good governance team, you don't have a team there, and we're all running all over the place, I don't think we can conduct the business of the people in a more sensible way. I think that's the first order of business I need to do. And yeah, we do have problems in our public safety, we have problems with our road infrastructure, we have problems and so on and so forth. And as a single council member, I cannot do it by myself. I need to influence the other council members and the mayor to think my way. And that's what I've done at Berryessa Union School District, and as well as the San Jose Unified School, San Jose Evergreen Community College District. I think we need to focus on effective governance as policymaker within the city, because that's the way we can serve the best interests of the people. So I will bring my expertise in the city council that hopefully I can influence them how to become a team of a good governance team, a city council to represent and conduct the business of the people of the city of San Jose. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Nassau. Candidate Tim Orozco.
I have 3 priorities. First and foremost, we need to invest and improve public safety. We need to hire more police officers. There's no doubt about that. I read the city auditor's report last December, and she said that response times are not where they should be. For burglaries, the police are getting out here in 20 minutes, and where they should be is at the 11-minute rate. That's where they should be. So how can our police officers get to our communities when they're being burglarized, to our residents, when we only have 4 patrolling officers in Berryessa at any given time? That's unacceptable. We need to hire more police officers. Keep our neighborhoods safe. Second, we need to create jobs and support our small businesses, promote the small businesses in our community. I joined Nextdoor.com, went to some community meetings, and we heard from them. They want better retail, better restaurants in our communities. We need to revitalize our aging and underutilized commercial centers. I drive by Capitol and Berryessa every day, those 3 shopping centers there. What a great opportunity for the next representative to do something about it. So something needs to get done. And then thirdly, we need to restore city services. The economy is doing better. We need to make sure 10 years ago, the libraries were open 6 days a week. Now they're only open 4 days a week. We need to make sure our libraries are open for our young people, which is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Alex Torrance, 90 seconds on the clock, please.
Thank you. The question was, what are your priorities for this first 6 months? And you can tell from the answers that my colleagues really don't have a clear understanding of how City Hall works. City Hall works because from the perspective that it's really run by the government entities. What happens is that with my 20 years experience during my first 6 months, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to say, what is it that we need? I'm going to form a coalition, a round table, and we're going to talk about what are our priorities for our district, what are our priorities for San Jose, and how is it going to impact. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with each leadership of each individual department, their streets, our police officers, our safety, etc. You fill them in. I've worked with them for the past 20 years at one level or another. I know where their departments are. I know who they are. They know me. I can hit the ground running. I already have an extensive track record in having these things done. The third thing I'm going to do is get to know my colleagues a little bit better, especially the newly elected ones. Out of all the people that have been elected, I think maybe just one I do not have a relationship with or have not worked with. Everyone else I've had some sort of relationship with, and they know my style, and they know what I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to do. Coming back to that, then I'll come back to you, and we can get things done in 6 months. Trust me, I've lived here. And what's happened is that our district has been ignored now for over 2, almost maybe 3 or 4 years. It's time that we get some leadership that knows what they're doing and can hit the ground running. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Torrance. Please hold your applause. Please hold your applause until the end. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Public safety has been on the top of my mind and it will continue to be on the top of mind during the first 6 months. Public safety, speaking broadly, not only hiring police officers and fire officers, but also speeding on our streets that is making people very, very unsafe. If I'm lucky, the first part, hopefully mayor will resolve it by the time I get there. But if he does not, then I will work on how to pay for increased pay. We must have a competitive pay for our police officers. They cannot just get a training in our academy and then go somewhere else. The second issue that is on the top of my mind, and it is on the top of the city's agenda right now, is Newbie landfill. Newbie landfill is creating a smell in Milpitas, Fremont, and it is getting to Berryessa area. And I will make my colleagues sit down with other governments as well, other jurisdictions, and find a mitigation for that issue. That we just cannot force on our neighbors the way it has been going on right now. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Dillon. How many San Jose City Council meetings have you attended in the past year, and have you ever spoken there about topics that affect District 4?
Okay, in the past year, I've been bad. I haven't been going the last year, but 2 years before that, I went to almost every city council meeting, 90%. And then I realized that the city council meetings are not as important as the rules committee, so I attended more of those and I still go to those. And I've been to over 120 rules committee. Why is the rules committee more important than city council agenda or meeting? Because if it doesn't pass the rules committee, it doesn't even get to city council. And the people at the rules committee, they really control what's happening at the city, because if it doesn't get through them, and who appoints the rules committee? The mayor, of course, and he picks the people who are going to support his agenda. And if they don't approve it, then it never gets to city council. So I agree with that. The rules committee is more important, and the meetings are actually only an hour long, so they're shorter and a little more fun. And if you guys can, please come out to the rules committee and join me out there. I'm still going out there almost every other weekend, or every other week. Wednesday, 2 p.m. See you there.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Well, I don't, first of all, I have never attended a city council meeting. I've watched it recorded online, and I've read the agendas. As an office holder, I don't believe that you need to attend city council meetings to be a successful office holder. I've spent my time otherwise working other avenues. I've served as a San Jose police officer. I've served as a Berryessa Union School board member. In those capacities, again, I follow the issues of the city of San Jose, but I'm not one to attend a city council meeting in person. I don't know how else to answer that, but other than that, I've been following the issues of San Jose for the past 10 years or so. Thank you.
Thank you. 90 seconds on the clock.
Myself, I follow issues of San Jose very closely, on a daily basis, because beside that, I also interview so many public officials, city leaders, for the past more than 30 years. And I'm very much familiar with all the issues involved for the community. And that is the work I'm doing, and I hope that in the future, I will encourage all city officials get to know and get to go to the communities more, and then we get all the inputs from the people, like all neighborhoods association, so they can have a more in-person connection with the voters. Thank you.
90 seconds on the clock. Thank you.
Yeah, when I was a commissioner with the city, I used to attend a council meeting because I make presentation to the council about some of the issues that we make, recommendation to the council. And I've been also attending the council meeting, and I also monitor them on the website, because there are some video of the council meeting that you can make available many years, a history of meeting. And even though sometimes I get a little bit frustrated with some of the behavior of some of the council members, how they act on some of the issues that are very important to us in Berryessa. So, I wish that many of us would attend the council meeting and express our satisfaction as well as dissatisfaction of some of the things that they make some decisions. So I promise to conduct a town hall meeting on a regular basis here, so that you are fully aware, if I become a council member, so you're fully aware what's going on in City Hall. I think it's important that the council member listens to your concerns and issues, and maybe your suggestions to resolve some of the issues and concerns that we may have in our neighborhood here in Berryessa, in North San Jose, and as well as Alviso. Alviso is one of the stepchild of the city, and last December they were flooded. I visited the site way back, and I talked to Mr. Santos and some of the people that are out there. Man, the city have not resolved that. They've been incorporated the city in the 60s and 70s, and they haven't resolved some of the issues in Alviso. So we need to pay attention to our neighbor there in Alviso as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's see, I've been to probably about
90 seconds on the clock, so let's start there. Thank you.
Right. I've been to about 4 or 5 city council meetings. Most of us have day jobs, and you do too, so it's often, impossible to get out there at City Hall during the day. We need to have more night meetings. With that said, I think the question that we all should ask ourselves is this: how many of the candidates here have attended Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council meetings on a regular basis and Berryessa Business Association meetings on a regular basis? I can tell you that for the last 2 years, I have been to every monthly meeting of BCAC and BBA. I'm a proud member of each of those. And I haven't seen any of these folks until maybe recently during the election. So that's probably the question that we should ask ourselves. Who has attended the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council meetings and the Berryessa Business Association meetings, and how frequently?
90 seconds on the clock.
Thank you. I think it's really important that if you're running for office, that you understand how City of San Jose politics works, what the process is, what the agenda looks like, and also having been able to go myself and actually speak before City Hall. I've been to City Hall meetings hundreds of times throughout my 20-year career, and throughout that time I've received awards. I've given out awards in front of the podium. I've spoken in front on behalf in opposition to different issues and agendas. I understand over 20 years of experience how the City of San Jose works, who to talk to, and how much time we have to get things done. And it is important that we elect someone that has that knowledge and that experience. Most of the things that I have made decisions on have impacted our district, including safety, keeping our hills green, transportation, environmental issues. All of those things that I've worked over 20 years have impacted not only the City of San Jose, but have directly impacted District 4. So it's important that we understand how our city government works. I have that knowledge, I have that experience, and I have that track record of making an impact and a difference in our community by understanding who the leadership is, not only sitting there at the City Council, but who the leadership is that is telling City Council what to do and what not to do. That's the important thing of recognizing and knowing how our local government works. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to make two announcements before we move on. One, the questions, please be clear, candidates, that you answer the questions that we're asking tonight, number one, and please, candidates, no gestures while another candidate is speaking, no gestures that would distract the audience from hearing what the candidates have to say. Thank you so much. I apologize. You're like, where am I going? Yes.
Thank you. I have attended many council meetings, and sometimes when I was on the planning commission, sometimes I watched the council meeting on the computer to see how council does to our recommendation. So, and even after I got off the planning commission, occasionally if an agenda item is of particular interest to me, I watch that meeting only. And the reference was made to Rules Committee. Rules Committee is the same thing as BCAC has, meets a week before or 2 weeks before, I forgot. They meet 2 weeks before and decide on what the agenda is going to be. At least those 3 people meeting concur that this is an important part of the agenda. This should be put on the larger meeting. And that's what Rules Committee does. So mayor is usually a big maybe chair of that committee. So those 3-4 members first decide if the agenda items that will be taken to the council, if they are important enough, if they will have enough support. So then they proceed to put it on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, in the past, was it years, that's the question, timeline, the past year or so, I have probably been to maybe 2 or 3 council meetings and about 2 or 3 rules committee meetings. Generally to advocate for, one, the issue of human rights in Vietnam as they pertain to the city of San Jose, and to reflect the concerns of the Vietnamese community here, but also to advocate on behalf of a wage theft ordinance in this city. In San Jose, wage theft, where people are being paid under the table, avoiding payroll taxes, being paid in cash, is an issue that pervades our city, degrades the working conditions of everyday workers, and also is an anti-competitive business behavior where we have honest businesses working by the book, paying full overhead, and yet competing with a restaurant or a salon or a store next door that is cutting corners and lowering their overhead. So those are mainly the reasons I've been to city council meeting. I would generally agree with many people here that as folks with day jobs, it's hard to attend council meetings. I would agree that it's more important to see who's been at the neighborhood meetings and also who's been here with the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council longer and not in a capacity where they're working to do reports for their employers.
Stand, please. What neighborhood meetings have you attended regularly over the last 12 months?
The regular neighborhood meetings I attended are, of course, primarily through my duties as a Berryessa school board member. I've attended all the meetings that pertains to that is monthly, and sometimes we have special meetings twice a month. And those are the primary meetings that have been attended. In addition to meetings with the San Jose Police Department, I've attended meetings, in-house meetings where we learn about the internal status of the police department. And so those are my two primary focus right now, is through education through the Berryessa Union School District and through public safety through the San Jose Police Department. Thank you.
Before we get started, please, again, I would like to say to the candidates, please do not be a distraction for the other candidates. We want to be respectful to everyone that has had an opportunity to speak tonight and be fair in the time and the opportunity for them to speak. 90 seconds on the clock, please.
Due to my work as a journalist, I am very busy at work. So honestly, I did not attend many community groups or association meetings in the past. But since I decided to run for public office, I made a promise to myself that I will have to attend and be close to the people by having more chance to attend those community meetings. And I promise that I can promise you I will do that in the future. Thank you.
As an elected trustee of San Jose Evergreen Community College District, we have a board meeting twice a month. And in addition to that, we also have closed session meetings that we discuss a lot of issues that we don't discuss in the public. But in addition to that, I have meetings at the different community colleges, Evergreen Valley College and San Jose City College, and talk to some of the faculty and students out there, and just to be in touch with my constituents. I've been also a regular attendee of the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council, which I'm the past president. And in fact, we have a special meeting with some members of the club, the Citizen of the Year of Berryessa, where we selected the 2014 Citizen of the Year. I'm not going to tell you the name because that's supposed to be confidential this time. I've had some neighborhood meeting in Alviso where we talked to the residents out there about some of the issues that are plaguing that little community. So I'm very much in touch with the community. Like I said, I've been a resident of this district for over 40 years, and my roots are here, and my kids were educated here. I've been still active in the school district. I just supported their bond measure that they just passed last year, and I've been advised. In fact, I advised the superintendents on many issues that are affecting the district that could potentially benefit the district. So I'm pretty engaged in our community, and I will continue to be engaged. And as your council member, if elected, I will engage you closely. Like I said, I'd like to have a town hall meeting where I need to talk to you about the issues and concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. 90 seconds on the
Margaret,
clock.
can you repeat the question, please?
I sure can. What neighborhood meetings have you attended regularly over the last 12 months? 90 seconds on the clock, please.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I answered the question prematurely. So, but over the last couple of years, I have attended the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council monthly. I have attended the Berryessa Business Association meetings monthly, and I've had a great opportunity to be out here in the community that I grew up in, to be able to represent our state senator, and over the last couple of years, you know, I have learned what our challenges are. I've been out to Alviso. I have been out to North San Jose, Berryessa. We have 3 very distinct communities, each with their own problems, their own issues, their own strengths. And so, you know, I'm prepared, I'm ready to be your advocate, your champion, a champion for District 4, an independent voice at City Hall, and hopefully you'll consider me to be your next representative. Thank you.
Ninety seconds on the clock, she has it.
Thank you. Over the past 12 months, I really have not attended any local neighborhood community meetings. However, as I mentioned before, I belong to over 10 different boards, currently and in the past. All of those different boards deal with everything from business development, economic development, affordable housing, workforce development, and education. All of those decisions that I make at that point affect our district. Secondly, I'm a single father raising 2 boys on my own. They live with me. I just don't see them on the weekends. They're with me 24/7, sometimes more often than I would like them to, actually, to be quite frank with you. But that limits my time and my availability. But I have dedicated my entire career to serving the people and the residents of San Jose. And almost every decision that I've made not only has positively impacted the residents of San Jose, but our district as well, because this is a district that I live in, that my boys live in, and that I want them to come back and live here. So being a part of the community is an integral part of my career. It's part of my being, and something that I'm very proud of. You can bet that almost every decision that I have made I have had District 4 in mind, and it has come out on the positive end of things. Thank you.
Thank you. I got it right that time.
For the last 12 months, I have not attended BCAC meeting. I have attended 2 meetings in El Viso area, and I have attended 2 meetings in the Evergreen area, and I have been regularly attending our temple meetings every week, actually. But before I was appointed to the Planning Commission, I was a very active member of BCAC. I was a vice president for 1 year, and then I was part of a United Neighborhood Committee, and I was attending regularly those meetings. So I'm very, whatever time I have, I'm very involved in some part of community. Unfortunately, BCAC, even in the last 6 months or so, every time there was a conflict, there was another meeting on the same day. So I have not been attending. Thank you.
If you count,
Please, hang on a second. You want all your time, right? Just check. 90 seconds.
if we count today as a BCAC meeting, over the past 12 months, I've attended 8 of them. I have also attended, I think, 1 or 2 of the Alviso neighborhood meetings and 2 or 3 of the River Oaks Association neighborhood meetings. But there are always conflicts, a lot of events going on in the evenings, regularly during the week, during the month. But beyond the meetings, I've tried to keep relationships and reached out to folks like Ty over BCAC, Mike, who's here at the River Oaks, and Jill over in Alviso, whenever I have a question or issue, just to check in from time to time, and I've sat and had coffee with them to discuss the issues that pertain to that particular area and concerns of that neighborhood. So, yes.
You know what? You know one of the things I hate the most, and I say hate, okay, is when people say I don't have the time, I don't have the money. When I first started getting involved in the community, I started getting out there and asking people, would you like to help out with this cause? Would you like to help out with that cause? And the number one excuse I heard was, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. And I told myself, you know what, Johnny, when you go out there, you tell people you have the time. You never say you don't have enough money, or not enough time. I don't have enough money though. But anyways, and that's the kind of guy I am. You'll never hear me say I'm too busy. I'll maybe say I'm kind of busy, what is it? But I will never say I'm too much busy. And that's why I've been to West Alma neighborhood every meeting, the Alviso neighborhood, I've been to a few of those. I've been to the Time Winners Association, the Vietnamese community meetings, the water board meetings, the school board meetings. Any meeting I can cram it into there, I go there. At home, when I get home at night, I have work too, guys. When I get home, I look at my schedule, and every evening I realize there's one thing that you have to go to. Sometimes there's 2 or 3, so you pick one and you go that evening. And sometimes I'll miss another event here and there, but I try to go to them as many as I can. 30 seconds, I had a point. Oh, I like going to these meetings. They're fun. And thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Lee. The next question is a little long. If you do need me to repeat it when we get to you, please just ask me to do so. Would you favor, please stand, candidate? Thank you. Would you favor a county-wide tax to fund low-income housing, given that there are some 7,000 homeless? How long would you expect to collect this tax? How much city money per year will be needed to shelter the homeless?
This is very shameful to this city, the problem with the homelessness and also the affordable housing problem. And I think if all people think this is the people's problem, everybody need to chip in, including private sector as well as the public sector. So I'm in favor of a specific tax just for the purpose of providing more affordable housing and to help the homelessness problem. When I interviewed the new mayor, Sam Ricardo, I asked him how much money do we need to solve the problem of homelessness. He told me $500 million, $500 million. And that's a huge sum of money. So again, one more time, all sectors, including the high-tech industry, they need to be on the table and then to solve the problem of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will support a countywide measure to address the homelessness, to provide affordable housing for the homeless people. When I was a commissioner with the Community Development Block Grant Steering Committee, we received millions of dollars from Housing and Urban Development, federal government, to provide housing, affordable housing to our seniors and those low-income families in San Jose. I'd like to find out first how much money we're getting from the federal government to provide this type of project so that we ourselves in the county, the city of San Jose and the county, can ascertain exactly how much do we need. But not only we need to provide housing for these homeless people, we need to provide them a career to having a job. And we also need to identify some of those people that have mental illnesses that we need to address. So it's not only building housing, but there are other issues that we need to address as far as homelessness in the county is concerned. Some of those people lost their job during the downturn, and we need to, some of them may need a new career because they've been out of work and homeless for so long that they're probably out of touch with their profession. So we need to, in the community college, we're offering a lot of this and trying to get people a new career and offering them free courses and career and technical employment. So I support the bond measure, and I'm very glad that the county and the city is joining partner to address the homelessness issue here in the county.
Thank you, candidate.
Thank you.
Homelessness is a problem in this Silicon Valley, and we need to find affordable housing so that we can find permanent homes for these folks who are displaced in our communities. I am an advocate of inclusionary housing. I would have voted with the majority last fall for the housing impact fee. We need to find creative revenue streams to fund an affordable housing fund so that developers can build affordable housing units. Because folks who work here, folks who live here should be able to work here, and folks who work here should be able to live here. You know, there's no reason why folks have to live in Tracy or over the hill to be able to afford a home. I have a brother and a brother-in-law who make that commute daily. It's an hour and a half each way. It's taxing, and it's a major sacrifice they make. But the whole idea, though, is I will be an affordable housing advocate at City Hall, and I will find ways to put homeless folks into affordable housing units, and also middle-class families to be able to afford affordable homes. So we need to do something about this crisis.
I would be opposed to any increases in taxes or fees on our developers. Let me say that again. I would be opposed to any increase in taxes or fees to our developers for the city of San Jose. It's a shame that we live in probably one of the richest and wealthiest places in the United States, if not one of the top places, richest places in the world, and yet the city of San Jose cannot afford and it keeps cutting back on services. There is something going wrong with how our leadership is managing our budget, our finances, and our resources. I would look, first of all, to see what is it that the city of San Jose and our leadership is doing that is managing all of the millions of dollars that come into our city, and then try to figure out how can we generate that, streamline that revenue and be more effective with our dollar resources so that we can see how much of those funds can go into A, affordable housing, and B, address the issue of homelessness. These are human beings as well, and so we also need to be able to take care of them. Part of the solution is also that the city of San Jose cannot do it all. We need to incorporate the help of all of our social service agencies that provide these services to the city of San Jose. And we also need to incorporate the help of the multi-trillion, billion-dollar companies that do business here. We all have to work together. We cannot solely put the burden on the city of San Jose to solve this issue. But I would not raise any taxes or any further fees on developers in order to be able to address the issue of affordable housing and the issue of homelessness. Thank you.
If you all read the Mercury article, I think it was about a week ago, that there is a housing job imbalance in the city of San Jose. It has existed for several years. It is not getting any better. City and the county absolutely has an obligation to house everybody who works in this county. We do not have to become, city does not have to become a bedroom community for the other cities around us. The other cities around us, their revenue per resident is a lot more, even according to that Mercury article. So our revenue stays stable, revenue doesn't go up because we don't create enough jobs. We keep creating housing and the other people work somewhere else and then they live here. So that's why we fall short on our budgets. We need to elect the leaders who are visionary. If you don't elect, if you're just doing a patchwork here and there, things don't work. You know, I will give you one example of BART. When it was first proposed, it was only 0.25% tax that would have completed the entire loop. But 2 counties opted out of it. And to date, we are paying through our nose and we still don't know when it will be completed. Thank you.
Thank you.
The question is, would you be supportive of countywide tax to support affordable housing or low-income housing? The question to me is incomplete, and so I can't answer, because to me the details matter. When you talk about a sales tax, you're talking about a parcel tax, you're talking about a sin tax on cigarettes and liquor, are you talking about a soda tax? How do we tax to generate this revenue? And I'm open to it. I'm reluctant to go to a tax, but I would need to hear the argument before I could give a kind of a nuanced, thoughtful answer. I do agree that affordable housing is a problem in San Jose. I can barely afford to live here myself to get my own place. And I think it's a shame that we have students, graduates from Santa Clara, from San Jose State, who get their first jobs, who are making an income and can't afford to get their own home. They have to go home to their parents' home, or they have to continue living in kind of a dorm style with friends and share a home with multiple bedrooms. It's deferring adulthood, and I don't think that should be something that people who live in the Silicon Valley should have to put up with. To say nothing of the folks on the lower income spectrum who are, laborers and working to make ends meet. Affordable housing is an issue, and we have to tackle it. Our city policies should reflect our values, and we need to have an honest discussion about it, not make simple answers.
Okay, let's talk about our homeless situation. So if you look at the census, they take a census every year, and I actually helped out on the census, trying to find people who are homeless. They do it once a year, and we go to different areas, we count them. And they said that about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, we had about 4,000 homeless people. And then today they say, this is in Santa Clara County. Today they say there's 8,000. And then my question is, we spent $200 million on affordable housing. Shouldn't the amount of homeless people go down? $300,000 per homeless person, and that's our solution. To spend more money on affordable housing, yet we see that the situation is not getting better. In fact, the problem is getting worse. Additionally, the affordable housing units, they don't pay property tax. So that means 300 units, 1,000 units, not a single property tax. Who pays for the property tax? Who pays for education? Who pays for streets? Who pays for public safety? You guys do. The other residents do. And they also don't let them build parking spots. Why is that? They want to force them to use public transportation. And then what ends up happening? They park in your neighborhoods, on your streets as well. So quite frankly, I don't think that the affordable housing, our solution for homeless affordable housing is working. And if you look at the money we put into it, we probably could have got a few people off the streets, but instead we see more homeless today than ever. The problem with housing is because we don't have enough housing for our residents. You have to realize that over the last 50 years, 500,000 people, over 30 years, the last 300,000 people, over the last 10 years, 100,000 people have joined this town. We can expect 100,000 people in this town every year.
Thank you,
we have to build housing for them.
Thank you, candidate Lee. Thank you.
Okay, I'm a advocate for affordable housing, but a tax increase is something I'm against, especially a countywide tax increase to house the homelessness. And let me just give you an explanation of why. I believe that providing a tax increase for housing the homelessness is a bandage to a temporary solution. We need to find long-term solutions. And now, over the course of my career, I have had several interactions with countless people that are homeless. And from what I've learned of these interactions is that homelessness is a product of substance abuse, drug abuse, and mental health issues, which are all within the scope of services provided by the county. So now,
Please let the candidate speak. We want to give them an opportunity to make sure
So now with that in mind, I believe if we were to, tax dollars are a limited resource. Now if we were to create tax dollars to house the homeless, I believe that tax dollars are better utilized if we were to push these money invest these monies into these services, such as services for homelessness through social services, mental health programs, and substance abuse programs. And I also believe that we need to invest in our schools, because if we invest earlier on with our children, they'll begin to make smarter decisions, which in turn, when they reach adulthood, they'll make decisions that won't result to drug abuses and such, that will turn towards homelessness issues, and it'll also provide them with better access to employment as well. So I believe that money is better well spent if we invest in other issues opposed to just housing, because I believe that's just a temporary solution, and it doesn't provide us with a long-term solution in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Wynn. Next question. Do you believe that the El Viso master plan is reasonable in being implemented well?
There are some issues that I'll be concerned about the El Viso area in regards to their master plan. The expansion of Newbie Island, some of you are familiar, is a landfill. And some of you have lived in Berryessa, and I know some people in Milpitas have issues with the smell when the prevailing winds start to change. And I know I live here in Berryessa, and every once in a while I do smell some of those problems. And also I represent, by the way, Milpitas and Berryessa in North San Jose, and the college board at San Jose Community College District. So I have an opportunity to talk to some of my constituents there in Milpitas. And one of the issues that they're concerned about is the treatment plant and the landfill that we have there in El Viso. And there's a plan to expand the landfill into the bay, and we have to protect our environment. There's a lot of concerns there that needs to be addressed. Now, I'm opposed to expanding the Newbie Island until we assess the environmental problems that we have there currently. So the city needs to evaluate that, and we need to hire experts to alleviate that. And that's been going on for many, many years. So I have a problem with that, and I will continue to meet with our constituents there in El Viso and to see how we can alleviate some of the concerns that I have heard from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the El Viso master plan was, I believe, created in...
Tim, can we get a chance to get our timekeeper? You jumping right in there. You got the 90 seconds on the clock, Cedar.
Sorry.
Thank you.
So the El Viso master plan, I believe, was created in 1993, and the city planning department and others got together to say, hey, what are we going to do about our community? So, you know, El Viso is a small village, and one of the parts of the master plan is to maintain the community character of the village. And so, and today, so I hope they're doing that. I will sit with those folks, with Mr. and Mrs. Gross here, who are in attendance, with Dick Santos and others who are stakeholders in El Viso, and work with them to find out what we can do to improve the community there in El Viso. They want to see some modernity and some, just like we want here in Berryessa, you know, retail and restaurants and other things, but I want to make sure that that's part of the community character that the folks in El Viso want. So this is, I have an open door policy. If elected, the way I do things is I bring in the stakeholders. I bring in the citizens, the residents. We have a community meeting just like this, and we discuss the problems and the issues, and how can we better our community. So I would listen to the folks out there in El Viso and make the right decisions for those folks.
Thank you. El Viso has for too many years has been ignored by the city of San Jose. It usually gets the scraps and very little attention. The city of San Jose makes all these promises about controlling flooding, getting new pumps, putting more infrastructure in place, and building another school, et cetera, and very little actually comes through. In regards to the master plan, I've been fortunate enough that throughout my years of experience in working with the city of San Jose, I actually played a role in developing that. One of the things that we need to keep in mind of this master plan and any master plan is that we need to be progressive about it. What worked 5 years ago when that plan was being developed or more doesn't necessarily work today. So we need to take a look at what the economy currently is right now in El Viso, what the population status is in El Viso, what the needs of El Viso is, and it's a work in progress. So do I agree with the master plan? I think overall it's at least a direction that we can go in, but we also need to be able to adapt to it and be able to fix it. One of the things that's happening in El Viso is that there's a lot of potential investment that's coming in from high-tech companies and things of that nature. We need to be able to take care of the citizens and the residents that have lived there for generations and generations, and yet they are being pushed out, and they can no longer really even afford to themselves live there, as well. So we need to be able to redevelop our master plan in order to be able to take care of the residents that's there and provide the necessary infrastructure that they need in order for them to improve the quality of life in El Viso. And as your elected official, that's the kind of experience, that's the kind of leadership that I
Thank you,
will bring to El
Candidate
Viso.
Torres.
El Viso Master Plan, when it was created, it was embraced by citizens of El Viso, and Marty Matthews, who is the current council member, championed it. But in my belief, execution has not happened of that plan. There was a great vision, that El Viso could become a visitor's place for the rest of the Berryessans. You could go there for bird watching, you could go there for walking over the weekend. But unfortunately, it has not happened. I'll tell you, if El Visans are listening, one of the issues that has been that El Visans vote less percentage-wise than the rest of the city does. If they continue to vote as less as they have been, they will continue to get ignored. So all citizens of that area particularly, they need to get actively involved. Then the politicians will pay more attention to them. And there are some issues in the last couple of meetings that I went to, those are being paid attention now. $9 million of storm sewer pumps are being installed, and so that the homes will not get flooded. And there are other issues. Roads are built high, I hear, but those are all technical issues. We got to resolve it when implementing it. Thank you.
I believe that the Alviso master plan is something that the citizens, Alvisans, I guess they're called, actually enjoy and want to protect. I feel that master plans, whether it be the general plan or the Alviso plan or the North San Jose plan, are the result of many, many months, if not years, of community consensus and partnership. And so no one council member or person or any council even should overturn anything or make amendments lightly. But reality is everything I am today is a result of what I wanted to be yesterday. So as we progress onwards into the future, we should have the ability to look at these things, reassess them, and make sure that they're actually serving the needs of the community presently and not just fulfilling the wants and desires of the community 20, 30 years ago. Having said that, I've been out to Alviso. I think it is a wonderful place. Reminds me of very much of New Orleans, which is a city that is very dear to my heart. And you know, I really hope to keep that unique nature of Alviso and to keep Alviso weird.
Thank you. Show of hands. Who's from Alviso? We got some Alviso residents. Anybody been to Alviso? All right, a lot of people, and I want more people to come out there. I want it to be a tourist destination. I'm from San Diego, and I can see what tourism can do to a town. I know what it does to the town. It makes it prosperous, of course. And not only you bring out the best things about your town. We had exhibits, restaurants next to the desert. Why? They said, you know, it may look like sand, but it looks pretty, and there's animals here, and they made a tourist attraction out of the desert. And so I was thinking, we have an Alviso, right? 60 seconds. We have Alviso. We should do something with Alviso. It's the natural beauty of our area. It may not be a desert, but it's wetlands, and that's what we have here. I call it San Jose Natural Scenic Beauty. I wanted to make it the crown jewel of San Jose. There's a place in San Diego where I'm from. It's called Seaport Village, and they have a marina, they have a walkway, they have a storefront with restaurants and museums, and I want to make something like that in Alviso. Right now, it's just a few restaurants, and the marinas, the boats can't even go out of there anymore. And I want to lively it up. And of course, I want the permission of the Alviso residents. We can't really force this on them, but at the same time, I think they would like to see something like this happen. And I hope with your support, we can all make it happen. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Do you believe that Alviso master plan is reasonable and being implemented well?
Okay, that's an interesting question because a lot of what Alviso that's going on with Alviso right now is a lot of big businesses are trying to come in and change the small town feel of Alviso, and that's where all the special interest dollars came in. And from where I'm coming from as a candidate is I don't owe any favors. I have never accepted any special interest dollars from these big businesses. So I've always made myself, and I'll continue to make myself accessible to the residents of Alviso. And I've been out to Alviso many times. I've dined out at Alviso, and I've spent many times over the past 5 years or so visiting Alviso. So I'm very familiar with the small town feel of Alviso. I know the residents of Alviso want to keep it that way. And I believe that Alviso is in a unique situation because it's the only it has the only access port for the entire South Bay to the San Francisco Bay. So we need to retain the environmental aspect of Alviso intact. We also need to maintain the small town feel of Alviso intact. So that's something I will continue to support. Like I said, I've always made myself accessible to not only the residents of Berryessa, but residents of Alviso in general. So if what they're telling me is that they want to maintain the small town feel and prevent the big businesses from coming in and changing that town, I will listen to the residents. I have an open door policy, and if elected, I will continue to have that open door policy. I will keep Alviso as the way it is by having that small town feel. And in addition to that, I know the Newbie landfill is also trying to expand too, and that's also something I'm opposed to as well because it negatively impacts our environment up towards close to the San Francisco Bay Area.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, thank you.
As we all know that all government is by the people and for the people. And I think the most important thing is the government, whatever the plan it is, they need to have the input from the residents of Alviso in order to improve the quality of life for the people there and also government need to work closely, very closely with the people of Vietvungvinh to figure out the way that to preserve the historical of the town and also to improve their quality of life. So I think we get back to the basic thing is we need to work together, the government as well as the people of Vietvungvinh to improve their quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go on to question 7. Everybody doing okay out there? All right. Okay, again, this is a lengthy question. If you need me to repeat it, just ask me to do so, and I will. The Valley Transportation Authority is considering a 2016 tax increase to fund a cluster of projects. Examples are BART to San Jose, more Caltrans overpasses, and carpool lane construction. Do you support this tax increase, or would you work to reduce the scope of the VTA's plan?
Yes, I would probably work to support a measure that would increase revenue for our transportation system here in the Valley. During the last election, helped with the Measure BB campaign in Alameda County. And so that passed. And now we see some widening of some freeways. Not that I want to encourage people to drive their cars, but the 680 corridor from Milpitas, Fremont, all the way to Livermore will be widened to 4 lanes. Now, I see that every day. When I come home from work from Alameda County, the freeway is completely clogged. It's bumper to bumper. So, and now, because of Measure BB that passed, with the half-cent increase in sales tax, they're going to be able to widen the freeway. So we definitely need to do as much as we possibly can to make sure that folks can get from one place to another, because you all drive our roads, we drive the roads, and there's a lot of congestion. So city officials, city leaders need to do whatever they can to make sure that we get across the valley efficiently. So yes, I would support a measure.
Thank you. Just a second, 90 seconds, thank you.
Thank you. Initially, I would not be in support of any increase of tax or anything that is going to increase the burden of us, the residents, the homeowners of our district and of San Jose. Having said that, I would want to first take a look at the efficiency of how the VTA is working. How many cars do they have out there going? How many people are actually going on VTA? How effective is BART coming into town? All those kinds of things. When we talk about expanding highways, we're assuming that the rate of growth in Silicon Valley, in San Jose, is going to continue increasing at the pace that it is. We cannot assume that, because if we're going to be having BART and we're going to have no urban villages, perhaps maybe we don't need to spend that money on expanding the freeways and adding a carpool lane. We need to see that the VTA is being much more effective, the way that they're running the system, the way that they're running their budget, and to see what from that budget can actually be done in order to provide more increased transportation, whether it be BART or whether it be VTA and things like that. We draw our hands too quickly to say we want to raise taxes or we want to put this bond on there in order for us to do certain things. I believe that the first thing we should do is take a look at our leadership and our fiscal management first, and let's see what we can do, line item cuts and do better management of fiscal monies before raising any taxes and adding to the burden of us, the residents.
Thank you.
I will vote yes for any capital improvement budgets to improve our infrastructure for any kind of transportation. Because anytime you approve anytime you approve a bond of that, you have to first see where is the money going to come from to pay for that bond. So we will have to do some good studies. What would that measure do? How would that increase the revenue for either for VTA or BART? So any capital improvement done early always pays off. The example I gave you, if we had invested 1/4%, I think it was 1/4% tax increase, is all sales tax increase, is all the county was, the other Bay Area counties were looking for. And the leaders, Santa Clara County, San Mateo County opted out not to increase that tax. And we are paying for it right now. Thank you.
Yes, I stated at the beginning of this forum that I'm a big supporter of public infrastructure improvements, and I feel that public transit is a big part of that. I'm a big fan of mass public transit. I think any great city has decent public transit, and San Jose is not there yet. So I would support VTA's effort to have funds and the resources to improve our infrastructure in regards to BART and Caltrains. But I would want to scrutinize the extent of what they spend it on, because again, we have to deal with the problems that we might incur in the future and not just solve the problems that may not exist 10 or 20 years from now. With the economy that we're in now, things are changing. With the rise of the sharing economy, Uber, the Google driverless car, there may not be so much traffic in the future. And the capacity that we have now in terms of our infrastructure might be able to cater to our needs 20 years from now. And so with a lot of that money, we should be concentrating on things like improving the first and last mile of walkability for the stations. When you get off a BART station or a Caltrain station, what is that experience like for the walker who enters the city? We need to improve our bike trails, hiking trails. All this goes into making San Jose a more accessible city, and that to me is very important.
Oh, the BART. I'm not a fan of the BART, but since the BART's here, I feel like I'm kind of stuck with it. That's what I feel, and if I'm stuck with it, I'll do what the best I can with it. If anything, I would have made the BART go underground so it wouldn't bother everybody. They allowed the BART to go underground in San Francisco and all the other cities. I think it would have been better for us if it was underground. Now, in terms of cost, well, who cares about cost anyways? They don't have the money to pay for BART, they don't have the money to pay for staffing, so we're all talking about money they don't have either way. Realize that they spent $6.5 billion to build the BART. The VTA did, not the BART authority. Our VTA spent $6.5 billion to build the BART. You know how much we spent to expand the highways? $1.5 billion. Realize this, that every highway, 101 and 680, or 880, they get 60,000 cars per hour in the mornings going up there, okay? Not counting 680, that's 880 and 101. The BART has 20 trains with 100 persons, or actually, yeah, 10 trains with 200 persons each, 2,000 persons per hour at max capacity. It will not take any more than 1% off the traffic off the highways. I'm an advocate for expanding our highways. In the 90s, in the 80s, they passed a highway tax to expand the highways, and they used that money, the VTA used a gasoline tax to build our BART, and that's why they haven't upgraded our highways. The thing that pissed me off, you ever driven by a 680 and 101? They upgraded a few years ago. I was like, what upgrade? They put a sign that says, go 15 miles per hour.
Thank you, candidate.
Thank you for the question. I am an advocate for generating revenue and securing funding for public transportation. I support public transportation. I believe with BART coming down to the Berryessa area and the Milpitas area, we're going to need bus terminals for the passengers that are coming into our communities. And eventually when BART moves forward to downtown Santa Clara, we're also going to need these infrastructures in place for the incoming population from other parts of the Bay Area. So we need to plan ahead. And when I mentioned earlier that we need to invest our money for long-term solutions, I believe that public transportation is the key to long-term solutions, because it's no secret that our roadways are in poor shape with potholes, and they're in critical need of repair. If we invest in public transportation, it's going to relieve the burden on many of our roadways in our city and county. In addition to that, we also have a plan in place for developing North San Jose along the North 1st Street corridor. We need to invest in public transportation along these corridors for the employees and the high-density residential developments that are being built in these areas. So we need to invest our money. We need to prioritize where our money is going, and I believe that public transportation is the key to developing this area for economic growth as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, infrastructure in public transportation is always good for the economy and good for the environment. And I wholly support for the measure to put money to invest in infrastructure as well as public transportation, provided that we got to spend the tax dollar prudently and also efficiently. But at this moment, I don't think public transportation system in this area is a very efficiency, so we need to fix that problem. Thank you.
I've always supported measures to public transportation. I supported BART to San Jose, and I supported sales taxes that fix Highway 101 and 880, because we need to invest in our infrastructure. If we let them go, it will be the same pothole that we're experiencing in the roads of San Jose that I'm very concerned about. So we need to take this matter into our own hands by providing funding for the infrastructure in our highways. Because I don't know if you heard about the study about those people held in traffic, that we're losing productivity from these employees by staying out there in the parking lot, well, you know, not working in their respective jobs. So this is a job creation in terms of productivity for our employees here in San Jose. So I'm supporting this measure, just like I've supported many measures to support transportation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to our next question. Yeah, okay. Question 8. As land use adjacent to the Berryessa BART station unfolds, what is your position on minimum density requirement for housing and the percentage of land reserved for commercial development?
Thank you. You know, BART's coming into our town, and one of the things that we need to be careful with and we need to do is make better and more effective use of the land and the property that's on there. I have been a strong advocate that we just cannot just build a parking lot there, and that's it. We need to somehow incorporate commercial building. We need to somehow incorporate housing, perhaps maybe even affordable housing. We need to also incorporate retail businesses on there so that it's just not a parking structure, so that it is just not a place where BART comes in and people get in and get off, but it becomes also a social center. It becomes an economic center where the residents that are mostly impacted on there can also take advantage of the fact that they're going to have new shops, they're going to have new retail opportunities, and so on and so forth. We need to make the most effective use of our land and of these buildings that's going on there, specifically in BART. We need to be able to not just beautify our area, but also provide opportunities, which in turn create wealth, which in turn create job opportunities, which in turn create business opportunities and more economic development opportunities. So we need to be creative on how we currently use our land, how it's being used, and how BART is being designed so that we can make the most maximum available of that particular property. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Torres. I can repeat the question for you. I'll repeat the question. As land is adjacent to the Berryessa BART station unfolds, what is your position on minimum density requirement for housing and the percentage of land reserved for commercial development?
When that station was approved, I was on the planning commission, and it was the highest density that was recommended by the planning department was approved. Later on, because the market didn't support it, some of the developers actually went from 6-story down to 4 stories on some of those buildings that were right on Mayberry and King Road area. So I am for vertical growth, mixed-use development, you know, whether it is for residential or for commercial offices, highest density along the BART station, as well as along the corridor. That goes without saying, otherwise we will have bigger transportation issues, continue to have. Yeah, actually that's it.
Thank you.
have a formula for in terms of the relationship between commercial use or residential use. I think it's important to see what the market will bear. But I do feel strongly that having a BART station come to Berryessa is an opportunity to spark economic growth in the region, and we should have some use where people come in and when they got the BART station at the last stop, where do they go? There should be some shops, some coffee places, some places to grab food in order to do that and make that last stop an attraction into the area. You should also have residential built in that area, dense residential, to make use of the public transit. That area should be walkable, it should be dense, and it should capitalize on the public transit going through. Berryessa hopefully will not be the last BART station stop. It will hopefully make it through downtown. So at every stop, we want to focus on the user experience and make it make it one that is attractive to residents and tourists and people coming in from other parts of the Bay alike.
Thank you.
Okay, so when you're talking about the BART, what you're really talking about is energy. What you're talking about is environment. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to save the environment from being destroyed by building this BART system that supposedly will transport more people more efficiently, and then we won't have to produce so much CO2 in the environment. I work in renewable energy. I believe that renewable energy is the future. If you look at Brazil, a country with 200 million people, they are at 90% renewable. There are other countries that are very large, actually if you look at the map, there's actually 100 other countries that have more renewable energy as a percentage of their total usage than the United States does. I think the United States is far behind renewable energy. I think that we have to use more renewable energy so we can help the environment and clean up this planet for once. I am in the industry.
Excuse me, candidate, the question, I'm going to repeat the question. It's as land use adjacent to the Berryessa BART station of boats, what is your position on minimum density requirements for housing and the percentage of land reserved for commercial development? So could you answer that question?
The reason we're doing all of this, okay, building high density next to the BART station is because of energy use. There are some scientists who come up with the equation that says that if we build it closer to these BART stations, we build higher density, and we build light rail, that it will use less energy, and as a society, we would save on energy and we wouldn't pollute as much. I'm saying that's not the solution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, candidate Lee.
I think this question is posed a little too late because the permitting process has already been approved and the development construction have already been going on, and that space that's set aside is set aside for the development and construction of high density housing. But in general, philosophically, I'm against it. I believe that we need to spur economic development. We need to allow commercial space to be developed around that area. And we need to create areas where jobs could happen. I've been a resident in this area virtually my entire life, or in fact, I live in this area my entire life. And I know that, and I understand that. We don't have any shopping areas to shop or dine in this area in Berryessa. So we need to set those spaces aside. Unfortunately, the city of San Jose took another route, but I believe that that space should have been set aside for commercial development so that we could spur economic growth, for jobs, for the people. I believe that we continue to build housing without places for employment, it's not going to do us any good, especially if we continue to build housing where is a huge problem with our current infrastructure. We don't have the public safety issues in place to support population increase. We don't have the infrastructures in place to support further population increase. So I think we're better and our money is more well off spent if we invest in the commercial aspect and develop jobs and spur economic growth for the people that are currently living in San Jose right now. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Warren.
As you may know, San Jose is poor and has a low taxpayer base compared to other cities in the South Bay area. The reason is that San Jose is a bedroom community for many other cities around. And I think it's very important because look at the ratio between the commercial and residential. It is very much imbalanced. And we need to reserve land for commercial because that's good for the economy to thrive and to have a more tax base for the city. So I think it's very important to reserve the land use for commercial. We cannot continue to convert it at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Nguyen.
I would like to keep a balance between commercial, industrial, and commercial residential development in the BART area. A long time ago, we had a presentation here in the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council about the master plan for the flea market, which involved the BART station and the development of residential area of about 6,000 residents. I was the president of the board at that time. We negotiated a piece of land to put a school site in development. So commercial and industrial development is our job creation base. I know that developers would rather build housing because their return of investments are very high on housing, but in the same token, it demands a greater service for our police, fire, and other protections from the city. So I would like to have a balance between housing, commercial, and industrial development, and we want to keep this base. We just don't want to build housing because then we become a bedroom community. So we want to make sure that those people that work there can live there and play there. That's why we have a park designated in that area. So I'm very familiar with what's going on the master plan in BART and the flea market because I've been involved as a community member here in Berryessa. We've had presentation from the PTA, presentation from the Bum family who owns the flea market because we want to make sure that the impact of the development of the flea market is mitigated for us who've been here long enough. You know, most of us have been here 40 years, so we want to
Thank you,
make sure
candidate
these things,
Nassau. Thank you.
Just want to add to
Tim, candidate. Whew.
I just want to add to the last question, my last answer, and that is I'm proud to have been endorsed by the League of Conservation Voters and the Sierra Club because they know by me supporting Measure BB in Alameda County that I will promote public transportation for our communities. And what a great corridor we have here with our light rail system on Capitol. Regarding BART, this is a great opportunity for Berryessans and for District 4 residents to see something big here. We need to envision something bigger. You know, I come back home to Berryessa and, you know, there's no there. And this is, I want to be at the table to see the right mix of commercial, retail, restaurants, high caliber, high quality restaurants and retail at that area, at that location. So I want to be there, make sure that it's done right, because once it's done, you're not going to be able to undo it for a long time. So let's create a center that we can all be proud of. That's what I envision. Someone told me, you know, let's do a Santana-like road. Well, maybe not that big, folks, but you get the idea. The idea is that we need a center so that we can go, as Claus said, or, you know, sit down at a coffee house, you know, enjoy, have a quality of life. It's about quality of life. It's about revitalizing our neighborhood. And that's what we need here in Berryessa. So I want to be at the table. Hopefully you'll vote for me so that we can see that what's done at BART is done right. And also, we want to be able to extend BART downtown. And let's make sure it gets to its final destination.
Orozco. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go on to question 9. What are your thoughts on pension reform and policies for the city, especially the police?
Pension reforms were very much needed. But in my opinion, pendulum has swung a little too far. We need to bring it back where we can still retain our police officers and firemen. We need to have a competitive pay with the surrounding cities. We cannot be paying them less. We cannot have less benefits where they would just get our training and go somewhere else. Where is the money going to come from is really the question, to pay them higher wages. My solution is in solving the overall budget. The entire budgeting system needs to be looked at again. You cannot continuously keep giving a department head more budget than last year regardless of what level of service it is. Right now, if you look at the service level of all the departments, we are operating at 11, 12 level. And so there is no place to cut. You are already operating deficient, so you cannot cut to pay more wages to the police officers. So you have to look at the entire budget. I hope this $25 million that the mayor offered will resolve the issue temporarily.
Thank you, candidate Dillon. Thank you.
On the issue of Measure B and pension reform, I started the position that I don't own that. I wasn't on the council when that happened. I think that I'm in support of fiscal reforms, but were I on the council, I might have tried harder to negotiate some sort of settlement. But if it were putting it on the measure were an action of last resort, then yes, I might have supported it. But I don't know that. I approached Measure B today as a candidate running for office, and where we are today is that we have Measure B is something that was voted by voters with 70% support. And for my money, it was ratified again in November with the election of Sam Liccardo as the mayor. And I think for the people who who want to undo Measure B, I think it's too soon to get a third chance to do that. And so I would continue to push for those reforms, to fight for the savings incorporated in Measure B, take those savings to hopefully increase pay, present pay, for officers, because $1 today is worth more than $1 10 years from now. And continue to develop the community service officer program, where we free up actually fully trained officers to pursue higher concern issues and leave the lower concern issues to these civilian community service officers.
Okay, right now I'd like to stretch out a little bit. Relax, everyone. We're going to talk about Measure B. Measure B is my favorite topic at City Hall because they're not talking about Measure B. They're talking about other things when they're actually talking about Measure B. And I quite frankly want to get past that. I understand the problems with Measure B. I understand we laid off 800 employees and payroll has gone up 20%. And it's because pensions have gone up 45%. And so, why? It's because the system was created in 1971, and now officers are retiring and people are retiring, and this is the first time we've seen the long-term consequence of a pension system that was never going to work in the first place. People want to be competitive with the private sector, so that's why they created the pension program. I get it. I don't have the solution, but what I can tell you is I believe that a 10% decrease from the max pay of 90% down to 80% is very appropriate, with the respect of the Police Officers Association. The reason that Measure B didn't pass, that it was found illegal, was because it violated contracts. And the city shouldn't violate contracts. No one should violate contracts. If you've ever had your contract violated, you feel bad. Some of these police officers, they work their entire life, 20, 30 years, and they said, when you retire, this is what you're gonna get. And then when they retire, yank. You know, so I know there's a problem. I don't have all the solutions. I wanna take the 10% off. The max pay from 90% down to 80% for police officers. Regular employees only get 66%. Thank you.
Thank you.
My stance on pension reform is that for the most part, like with all labor groups, I agree that there needs to be some sort of pension reform, some sort of labor reform. But I believe that the current trend that the city is going down towards is not the right way to do it. I believe that there are other ways to do it. This is actually embarrassing if you look at neighboring cities all around the county. They have come to a labor agreement with their employees, and we, as the 10th largest city in the country, cannot. As the city of San Jose, I understand we have a separate city pension. City and County of San Francisco also has a separate city pension, and they were able to come to agreement. The County of Alameda has a separate pension system, and they were able to come to agreement. There's no reason why, as a city, we cannot. I believe that as a city, we need to foster a culture of respect for employees that will bring both sides to the table, and we can accomplish more. I believe that we do need to do a pension reform, and I believe that Measure B is not the right way. And the reason being is that Measure B, like I mentioned earlier in one of my responses, is causing the lowest, the worst benefits package for police officers and fires in the state of California, and it's not allowing us to retract and retain the qualified police officers that we need. Is that, in fact, causing us to lose more public safety personnel and our ability to recruit them. I believe that we need to be responsible with our dollars. We need to come to a mutual agreement that's both fiscally sustainable for our city, but also needs to be competitive for our employees. And I know that we can do it because the neighboring cities have done it, neighboring counties have done it, and I know that as a city we can do it. We just need the right people at top in the leadership positions to push this through. I believe that I have the experience to do that as the office holder for the past 6.5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate.
Yes, the people already had their say in Measure B. 70% of the people of San Jose approve Measure B. And now it's up to the court to decide is a constitutional issue. And it's very important to fix the broken retirement system of our city. We need to continue to do that, because that gets us into the mess at the first place, and we don't make the same mistake in the future. It's very important. And like an old saying, during war, we need to prepare for peace, and during peace, we need to prepare for war. Like in the good time, you need to prepare for bad time. We cannot just spend during good time, and then cut during bad time, and lay off a lot of people. It's really, really bad. And I think we need to reform the pension system. We cannot, it is unsustainable, because we have, with the situation in the past several years, we have an unfunded liability from $2 to $3 billion. It is unsustainable. We need to reform it. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate.
What happened to that pension reform in the city of San Jose that affect our public safety officers is actually a failure for our city to set the directions to the negotiating team to compromise and negotiate in good faith with the Public Officers Association, the POA. And what happened then is that Measure B was brought to the people and was approved. And the end result was devastating to the city. We used to have 1,400 police officers, now down to about 900. And that's about a 500 reduction in public safety officers. Now, it's water under the bridge. In other words, it's over with. I think what we need to do is find a solution to this issue. I think we need to get our public safety officers an assurance that, we will take care of you. Your compensation package would be comparable to the other agencies within the area. That currently is not. That's why they're leaving like droves. So we need to do that. We need to exercise some restraint. We know that we are limited in our budget, but we also need to look at the whole structure of our finances in the entire city. There are some other collective bargaining groups out there, the people that maintains our park, the people that runs our transportation and everything like that. They too we need to look at those people also in terms of their compensation package. I've been a union president as well as a public official, and I know that the union wants to negotiate for their members.
Thank you, candidate.
Public officers also take care of their employees.
Thank you, candidate.
When it comes to Measure B, we need to turn the page. We need to take care of this. We did it at the state level. I mentioned there was the California Public Employees Pension Reform Act of 2013 that Senator Wajkowski voted for. It eliminated abuses of the pension system among public employees in the state of California, and we're going to see some savings. This is what we need to do, and there's going to be little litigation and lawsuits with PEPRA. Why? Because stakeholders came to the table. We need to do this at City Hall. With a bipartisan support, get the mayor, management, and the labor unions come together to negotiate at the table. This is what 95% of municipalities do. They negotiate a contract. That's collective bargaining, folks. You don't take it to the courts. Let's stop litigation. We're spending your taxpayer dollars in the courts. We take it out of the courts. We need to fix the language provision, vested rights we need to restore, because, hey, my mom taught me, a promise that I make, I keep that promise. So if I promise you a certain contract, I'm going to make sure you get that contract. And let's take care of the Tier 2. So now we have Tier 2. Let's make sure those benefit plans are good and sound, because we need to attract police officers to our city. We need to make sure that our city, once again, is the finest police department in the country.
Thank you, Senator Rusko. Please hold your applause. Thank you. We're going to get there.
It's obvious with 70% of the passage of Measure B that there needs to be some type of measure reform, pension reform rather. I'm in favor of some sort of pension reform, but we also need to honor the agreements and the contracts that we entered back in 1970, in the 1980s. Whether they're right or they're wrong or they're equitable or not, we need to be able to honor those. The pension reform that I'm proposing is that we need to be able to put something in place now for our current and future employees. We need to be able to pay our police officers, our men and women in uniform, fairly, equitably, and at the same rate as other cities similar to our size. We can no longer afford to continue cutting our services. Our libraries are closing up, our streets need fixing. We don't have after-school programs, senior citizen programs are being cut, et cetera, et cetera. We need to be able to get some kind of leadership in San Jose to be able to do this. You know, it has been mentioned that we needed to come to the table and negotiate. The fact of the matter is that right now the city of San Jose at City Council is at a stalemate. Why? Because of special interest, either on one side or the other. They do not have the relationships or the means to be able to come to the table and fix this problem for the greater good of the community. Let's take a look at who's running, because this is going to be a very critical position here. Depending on who wins, and if it's backed by special interest, you know what's going to be happening at City Hall. Nothing's going to get done, and we're going to continue going down the same path. Do we need pension reform? Absolutely. But we need to honor the agreements that we have, and we need to work together to be able to find a solution so that people can be paid fairly.
Thank you, candidate Torres. That's going to conclude our questions for the evening. We're going to move into our closing remarks for our candidates. You will have 90 seconds to give your closing remarks. And again, please hold your applause to the end. I appreciate what our candidates are doing, but we would respect everyone and applaud together, you know, for our candidates. So thank you. "90 seconds, closing.
I'm first every time. I hope you all vote and I come out first on the votes also. San Jose, North San Jose is an economic engine for the entire San Jose. Lots of revenue gets raised here, but all of it does not proportionally get spent in District 4. I will be your advocate to make sure that the adequate funds get spent in the District 4. There are lots of buildings going up in North San Jose, apartment buildings, and the developers pay park in lieu fees. They pay school fees. School fees, of course, goes to the school of that area. But the park in lieu fees, who knows where that goes? I will make sure that we get our part of the park fees that we generate from this area. I will empower the neighborhood organizations to solve some of the issues. The night watch, the neighborhood watch is one of the ways. Neighbors got to get involved in it themselves. Neighbors, there used to be a block party system, but seems like the block parties have gone away. Neighbors don't know each other.
Thank you, candidate Dillon. Thank you.
Thank you. Vote for me.
Through this evening, this lengthy evening, I hope you've taken away some observations about each of the candidates on this table. I think the most important thing that you should take away is a sense of each of our temperaments, because we can have our viewpoints, we can have our positions, but if we get on that council, any one of us, and we don't have 5 allies on that council to move something forward, then our positions are just talk. I believe that I am someone with the proper temperament as an attorney, as someone who has worked and negotiated with various sides, who understands that there are many sides, many different issues, who's someone who enjoys the endorsement and support of the Chamber of Commerce, who believes that I am an advocate for business, but also the support of not the South Bay Labor Union, but the Local 270, the laborers and other unions, individual unions, who see that I have the temperament, and if I get in, I am somebody that they can work with. I believe that public service is a strategy of applying local solutions to our nation's most pressing problems, and I feel that I want to start here locally in San Jose to build a prosperous city, to reinvigorate America, renew it by starting locally here in San Jose. I'm at the bottom of the ballot. It's all about that base. Please vote for me. Thanks.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I want to first start by thanking everyone for being here tonight. Thank you. No, it's not easy to come out here. This is the largest candidate forum I've been to, which means I think the people in this district care about their district. And I like people who care about their district. I like people who care about their home. I think it's the idea of ownership. I believe that in this country, we own ourselves. We have self-ownership. There's other countries where you don't own yourself. The government tells you what to do. They take your freedom. They own your property. And for me, I've traveled around the world. I've seen suffering. I've seen people with nothing to eat, starving, people dying. When I came back here, I realized how fortunate we are to be in this country. Whereas millions of people around the world don't have the opportunity like we do to run for office, to be here at this candidate forum. We are blessed to have the opportunity to make something of ourselves, of our society, of our country. It's your input, it's the people's input in this country that has made it as great as it is. And as a representative, I will continue to honor the democracy, the principles in which this country was founded on, and the opportunities that we have in this country. Thank you very much.
First off, I'd like to thank the audience for coming tonight. I know it's pretty late in the night and a lot of us have other plans, but I appreciate everyone for coming in. And a little bit about me is that I've been a resident of this area. I'm the only candidate up here that spent their entire life in this area. I grew up in this area. I'm a second-generation resident of this area. I'm deeply vested into this area. All my interests and all my decisions, if elected, will always be in the best interest of everyone that's sitting in this room. I've done so for the past 6.5 years while serving on the Berryessa Union School District, and I will continue to do so if elected onto the City Council. I believe I'm uniquely qualified because I have an existing relationship with our police department. I also believe I'm uniquely qualified to advocate for education because of my existing relationship with our school district. And also, I have the experience. A large part of what a city council person does is they have to understand budgets because their decisions will impact tax dollars. I'm the only candidate with a formal education in budgeting, with experience in budgeting. And with that said, I would be greatly honored if I receive your vote this election cycle. Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us at this long hour. And District 4 is very unique in its diversity. We have approximately 60% of District 4 residents are Asian American. And we also have half of the citizens of District 4 born in another country. And with my background and my experience, I believe I'm the best candidate to represent that diversity. If I'm elected to be council member, I will do my best to listen to all my constituents, to reach out to all communities and neighborhoods, and we all should have a sense of making San Jose to be all that we want it to be. As you may know, I'm came to America as a refugee after the fall of South Vietnam to communist regime in 1975. My wife, she was pregnant with our first child. And we had to start our lives all over from scratch in a new land, in a new language. And this country gave me the opportunity to finish law school and to start my own business and my own career, and to raise my 3 children to be very successful, responsible, and productive citizens. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you, America, and thank you to all of you. And I hope that I have your support and your vote in this coming election. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rudy Nasol again. I'd like to make an announcement that one of the persons that's in the ballot on April 7th is the Honorable Thelma Buok, who have given me her endorsement as her candidate. I've also been endorsed by her colleague in the board, the Honorable David Cohen, who is a trustee at Berryessa Union School District. I've been endorsed by the Honorable Bob Gross, who is the past director of the Santa Clara Valley Water District. And I've been endorsed by the Honorable Linda Lack, who is a commissioner with the Neighborhood Commission in the city of San Jose. And I've been endorsed by many members of the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council and a lot of grassroots neighbors here in Berryessa. They understood my commitment to this community as a 40-year member, representing them in various boards and commissions, as a trustee in Berryessa Union School District, and now as a trustee as the San Jose Evergreen Community College District. I have really a commitment to serve this community. I raised my 3 kids here, and they're adults now. And I want to raise my grandchildren in the same time that I was raising my kids here. And I hope that you vote for me on April 7, because I promise I will represent you effectively in the council with honesty, integrity, and a lot of experience that I've had in this community. I thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here this evening. This is the community spirit. This is the community that I want to represent, the community that I grew up in. This makes me proud. This is a great turnout tonight because it says you care, I care, and we care about our community, we care about our city that we live in. Over the last decade, there's been a fractious environment at City Hall. You know, I want to bring people together. I want to find collaborative, cooperative approaches so that we can find real solutions for our city. I will be a strong, effective, and independent voice for our communities of Berryessa, North San Jose, and El Viso. So I really hope that you will consider me. I'm proud of my endorsements. I was endorsed by Congressman Mike Honda. I was endorsed by Supervisor President Dave Cortese, Sheriff Lori Smith, and David Cohen of the Berryessa Union School District Board, and Hugo Jimenez of the Berryessa Union School District Board. These make me proud. I'm proud of labor groups that are siding with my campaign. I'm proud of the values that I will bring to City Hall. My mom taught me about caring and sharing with others. So we have to make sure that we get our fair share at City Hall, and I will be that strong advocate for you. Thank you.
Thank you all for spending an evening with us and all the candidates and listening to all of our vision and leadership ideas for the future of not only our district, but for the city of San Jose. If you want an independent leader with 20+ years of experience living and working in the city of San Jose, for the city of San Jose, and for District 4, then I'm your candidate. If you want an independent leader who has a proven track record of bringing communities and people together and organizations together, then I ask for your vote. If you want a leader that is beholden only to you, to the candidates, to the residents, to the voters of here, of District 4, for the betterment of our district, then I ask for your support. My endorsements include the Hispanic Chamber, the Black Chamber, the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, one of the most powerful civil rights groups in San Jose. My other endorsements also include business leaders, community leaders, such as you. My campaign is one of grassroots. I am not beholden to any special interest groups, which gives me the opportunity to be able to work for you, not have to answer and look over my shoulder and having to do what other special interest groups tell me to do. I am here for this district. I've lived here for 13 years, and I've served on over 20 boards in various leadership positions as chairman, vice chairman, president, and I've brought organizations from the brink of going under all the way up to being nationally recognized. I have the experience, and I welcome you to pick up my bio, to pick up a list of my endorsements, and take a look at what I bring to the table.
Thank you, Candidate Torres. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be your moderator tonight, and we appreciate your commitment to the District 4 community. Vote well.
Thank you.
Okay, before we adjourn, I have a couple of quick things I want to take care of. First of all, I want to let you know, if you were looking at your ballot and wondering where Thelma Bowack and Alan Hsu went, they suspended their campaigns. They were invited to be here, but they declined because they had suspended their campaigns. So I just wanted to clear that up if there was any misunderstanding there. I also want to acknowledge David Hernandez. He provided the cookies this evening that you've been enjoying. Thank you, David. And Kendra Yarn in the back corner is the facility manager and made all this possible for us this evening. Thank you, Kendra. Last two things. I would encourage all of you to consider joining the various organizations that have co-sponsored this evening's event. The Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council, I can speak on their behalf, $10 a year, one meeting a month. There are also the Berryessa Business Association, the Berryessa Milpitas Republican Assembly, the Berryessa North San Jose Democratic Club, and the River Oaks Neighborhood Association. You have to be there to be a member of them, but nonetheless, I encourage you to be a member. And I will close by asking for your feedback. What this evening worked, what didn't work, and you can make that available to us by email or however it's convenient for you, because we want to make these kind of meetings. And so thank you for coming out this evening, and thank you, candidates, for your leadership. We are adjourned.